Hello and welcome to my digital design promo video presentation. These are 10 of the things I've worked towards to create my presentation and video, the final product, the best as they can be. This is a quote I came up with at the beginning of the trimester, which I felt connects to the unit that we are currently doing. So the first set of slides about my research, primarily primary research. These are the interview answers and questions which guided me into how I want my video to turn out. My first primary research is how to make the lighting good in the video, which I'll explain in this slide. So as you can see, facing away from the light, here, affects the visual outline of the person getting interviewed and seems unprofessional and they are unable to be seen. Facing towards the light, as you can see here, causes a natural light, which in the video seems to have more clarity and a professional look. It's shown in all of my interviews. I made them face towards the light as it seems much more professional, and especially and this interview. Second primary research was how to use a DSLR. Watching videos overcomplicated the way to use the camera, so I used first-hand experience. So for the microphone, I realized that the best settings is on the line and on 0, as it didn't have a crinkly or a high-pitched sound, and I understood some of the shots for photos and how to delete or look into pictures. The second set of slides are my secondary research. I mainly use video tutorials as articles overcomplicated the same sort of message that videos could convey in a much quicker and simpler time. In this video, it shows a cut called a jump cut, which I've used a lot in the interview, especially here where I have two different shots of Mr. Mike Cavanaugh from the B-roll jumped onto back another interview with him. These are three of the service groups presented in the video. So PewDiePie, its aim is to fundraise and support the urban refugees at the Soi 3 IDC. DWBI, which is to create a bond of friendship between NIST and kids with HIV and AIDS. And Rescue Glass, to raise awareness of the importance of recycling used drinking bottles. These are specification points and justification. I won't go into much detail, but mainly they are about the function, creating form, and client of the video, and the justification on why these should be met. Again, for the testing points, these are just how to test if this is correct, how to test that, so on and so forth. So the plan for the first half was much more detailed than the plan for the second half, as the plan for the first half was a lot more filming and interviewing. But the plan for the second half has mainly just been finish the video and finish the slideshow, as that needed the most work. I did little to no filming. This is the video process during halfway, and this is how it's done. So as you can see, the ones with the star has changed, and I'll go into explanation on the next slide why. So for one, as DWBI had the most B-roll and was the easiest to edit, I started with it. I felt as if there were 3 interviews after each other, it would be boring for the reader. So I put information on why students should join service groups. PewDiePie was the hardest to edit, as I had no B-roll, and with one question, the interviewee gave one large answer, which was hard to break up. And lastly, due to unfortunate problems with some B-roll was deleted from DWBI and PewDiePie. So I solved it by getting DWBI B-roll from a friend, and PewDiePie I got them from pictures of the internet. So the next set of slides are about changes made to the design plan. So at the start of the unit, I wanted to showcase some of the newer, the well-known service groups, but that did not seem necessary. So I highlighted the newer and less-known service groups so they could be known to the NIST community. These are some changes made to another change made to the design plan. The specification was that I should use Final Cut Pro, but the software started to glitch, so I changed to iMovie, and I would see if some classmates, parents, and my brother can tell that I used iMovie just by looking at the video, which I've done and resembles no difference. This is the rubric, and this is what I've met. I have not marked form as it said I've used Final Cut Pro, but I've used the outcome is similar to what Final Cut Pro could give out. These are some questions for the interview, which will be seen in the video, of course. I've used some for different types of interviews depending on the characteristic of the person. This is a student evaluation, so I've done a teacher and a student evaluation. So One student said that in some clips where there was a change in camera from the iPad and the DSLR, the audio did not correspond to the last clip, and under closer inspection I fixed it, identifying the fault during 28 and 68 seconds. And in one of the interviews, the interviewee was mumbling, and I cut out that part so the difference was not visible. And to make the difference not visible, I added B-roll clip over it. Improvements was to add music, so I've added music to give a vibrant and contemporary feel to the video. I had to create the specifications clearer. Regarding Final Cut Pro, it was very vague, so I changed it to it has more features such as more transitions and so on and so forth. And get evaluation from a teacher, specifically my mentor. So I uploaded to YouTube, sent the link, and gave a series of questions plus some extra feedback they would like to give me. This is my final video. I'll be skipping over some of the no need to parts that are not need to know. So here's the start. This is the music that has a vibrant feel. So it starts off with a piano and then goes into a much more upbeat part. Here I used a drone as the background, as I felt like a picture would be a lot more boring. With a moving background, it seems more inciting and more like better visual for the eyes. So my first interview with Dreams You Believe In, where I had two different cameras. And I used subtitles. I used subtitles as some of the questions. The microphone was directed of interviewee, not the interviewer myself. So I just put subtitles to make it clear for the people that couldn't hear me.
I work for a service group called Dreams We Believe In, which works with an orphanage about 3.5 hours north of Bangkok, and it's a community of kids who live with HIV or AIDS.
So, what is the mission and vision for this service group?
Our mission is to create a bond of care.
Here's just some more information. This is the second video.
What is the service group you work for?
I work for Rescue Plus.
What does Rescue Plus?
This is the interview where there was a lot of mumbling.
Collects used glass bottles and then we shape them into products.
Okay. What is the mission?
Here's where it happened.
For the service group?
So our mission is to shape products from the used glass bottles in such a way that they can be sold and used as a household item.
Here's some text regarding why students should join service at NIST. Here I use muted interviews that did not go well, and it gives a cool effect towards the video. Lastly, PewDiePie, who gave me a long, large answer, which I had to break up.
So, what is the service group you work with or for?
I'm actually the co-leader of the service group PewDiePie. So, as a service group, PewDiePie helps
Yes, some
urban
of the
refugees here in
interviews.
Bangkok. There's this jail called the IDC here in Bangkok called the IDC stands for Immigration Detention Center, and it's essentially in 1951 Thailand didn't sign the UNHCR refugee contract, right? So there's no legal status for refugees here in Bangkok.
Thank you so much. These are just credits for myself, music, the interviewees, and couldn't make Mr. Mike and Miss Cindy. And after watching the video, I would show you the teacher evaluation, which I've all met. So first I ask her, do you feel the video has met your needs? She responds that the video has met her needs, that she gave to me at the start of the unit. 5 words, I asked 5 words to best describe the video, which I could get an understanding of how she sees it, which is professional, thoughtful, descriptive, informing, and modern. Thirdly, the audio and visual aspects. I noticed during the interview with Mr. Mike, which I've also noticed, that there was alternating sound quality. Is there any solution? For example, change the audio manually on iMovie. So I've taken her aspect and I've put the audio taken by the iPhone to the maximum, and the one taken by the DSLR camera to a lower volume. But there's still quite a little difference, which that's if I put the DSLR any quieter, then it would ruin the whole video. is it good enough to be the final videos? She just also explains that in one of the drone shots that there was some glaring or flickering, which I have found no solution to improve. And lastly, any improvements. So she just wants me to look at the improvements which I have done. So thank you so much.